Good evening. Just wanted to go over a quick topic, something that I was thinking about watching Gommel last week. Just wanted to kind of give my thoughts on how Smash Majors are sometimes run with some of the decision making and whatnot. So I am someone who enjoys multiple different games. I like Melee and Ultimate. Uh, I'm not huge on Rivals 2, but I at least follow along with that. I prefer Rivals 1. Also, I watched some Street Fighter at Gommel. A lot of stuff was pretty interesting. And the thing is, I think some of the decisions for what was chosen to be streamed was not the best. I still really enjoyed Gommel. I thought it was really, really good. One of the best tournaments I've seen in a while. But I think one of the decisions that was made in terms of scheduling was not good. As you can see here, we have on Saturday, you had about 2 hour blocks of pools for both Melee and Ultimate, which is somewhat standard. You also had Rivals and other things kind of blocked off in the round one. There was about 750 for both games. I think Ultimate was like 750 and Melee was like 770. It was pretty similar. Either way, you had a fair amount of players, and they both got down to 128, which is about a sixth of the players. So you get under you lose over 80% of the players that you started with originally, and that's a big deal. They also did all best of five, so that takes some time. However, I really think that this is an old-fashioned way of running pools that should be changed. If you notice down here is the top 128 for both Melee and Ultimate, as well as this goes to top 32 for both of them. And then Rivals 2 goes from top 48 to top 8. I think that you should not put all of this stuff right here. Trying to follow along was insane. It was very, very difficult because you had four brackets for each of these and then Rivals, and like anyone trying to follow along with one, let alone all of them, is going to not really be able to keep up with everything. It's going to be rapid fire, and sometimes that's fun. But I think if you really want to maximize viewership, you need to structure it in a different way. Specifically, the way that Tipped Off did it. I think it was originally done at Riptide. This is 2022, where one of the earlier versions I saw of this. I tried to look up what was the earliest version. I couldn't quite find much results. And I just want to say that I think Smash Majors do a lot of things correct. Again, no hate to Gommel. They did a great job. I really enjoyed it. But I think the advancement for uh, a lot of Smash tournaments has been better than what I could see from like traditional fighting games. Like Evo, they do a lot of stuff, but they don't have very many streams, and they don't do a lot of best of five. I think that Smash has kind of moved on and realized that Evo was awesome, but it wasn't the best player experience or the viewer experience. It just had prestige. But tweaking things to make them better is a good thing to do. I think the reason why this works is because this didn't have the most entrants, had 400 something entrants, but you have four pools of 20 something players, and then you get two in winners, two in losers, I believe, right? Oh, I guess you have two in winners, four in losers. Either way, that doesn't really matter. Um, this they did top 96 instead of 128, but either way, it works out pretty well to where you have a more manageable amount and you can structure this out to be in different waves. Pool H, they were the first wave of Melee singles, and then in Wave I, they kept playing right after. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think having players start at 11 a.m. and then like play probably some easy matches and then play a ton of hard sets back to back, like frantically, not sure when you're streamed, like boom, boom, boom. I think, and waiting potentially like, 6+ hours, I don't think that's really reasonable. I think that playing your sets, your easier sets, maybe the last one if you have the 2 versus 3, like I guess this was, but like the 2 versus 3 in the pool is usually going to be closer. But I think it makes a lot of sense for these players to just keep playing. For this, they only had one set. For tipped off, they did 128 instead of 96. Same with get on my level. So you can just do your, if you're Cody or Triff, you just do your 2 sets and you move on. For these other players, you do a 4-hour block of playing, and it scales up. You stay warm. That makes sense. I think for players, it is better to do it this way. And then the next waves of matches is probably the next day. That would be a good idea. I'm showing a lot of melee examples, but for Ultimate, this works as well. Let me see where Ultimate was. I'm going blind, I swear. There we go. This was similar to where you had, they started with their. Oh, this I guess they did it differently with some of the. They did not have all of the players, like they had waves A and D crossed over. But I guess if we go back to how it was done at some of these other tournaments, where these are all A, and then they just move on to the next top 128 to 32. I think that makes a lot of sense. Now, for viewership, for streaming, I think it is so, so, so much better. I think for players, it's better. But for viewership, it is so much better. When I was trying to watch GOML, I was trying to keep up with this pool and 3 others, along with Melee's 4 pools, and whatever else was happening with Rivals 2, and I don't think there was much Street Fighter at the time. But like I was trying to keep up with, and what they did was they had a main stream for Melee, a main stream for Ultimate, and then they had a quad stream with 2 for each. Some people don't like mixing the game. I think it's cool. It's totally fine. I end up watching Melee a little bit more, but I do really like. I'm more personally invested. Like Warner, I know, like from Central Virginia. Like I've been to a lot of the same tournaments. Um, I even played him in bracket once. He barely got me, but yeah, this was a cool set to see, and that was cool. But a lot of these sets were not streamed because you have 8-4, 8-8, 4-4. That is 12, 20, 28, 32, 36. 36 times 4 is 128, right? 30, no, 144. So 144 sets. Now, I don't expect these losers round 1 matches to all be streamed. That's a bit unrealistic. But you had some sets that were pretty significant that were not really streamed. I don't think a lot of these sets. I didn't see the. This is Big Duck Hunt fan who beat Tweak a while ago. I don't think they played Leo on stream, which would have been a great set. Some of these sets, I don't know if this one was on stream, but like some of these I just didn't see. I don't know if Anarchy Burst was on stream. Burst being one of the best North American Yoshis, I believe. I don't know if Jackal Pacha was streamed, but there's just an overload of matches. And like, yeah, maybe you have a side stream, someone pops it up, but it's probably not going to be labeled on here saying what stream it's on, and so you're just like, okay, I guess I'll just refresh and look later. I think when you're able to pace it out and you do, okay, the first part, we're going to have these, I said what, 36? I'm pretty sure 36, yeah. and which Tipped Off did a great job. They had a mainstream and I think 2 full quad streams 2 years in a row. Incredible. Shout outs to Ohan, did a great job. I understand that's not feasible. And it used to just be the one stream. Even getting like 2 or 3 streams is good. I'm not going to deny that. However, I don't think you need to stream the individual stuff from round one pools. Like, okay, if you go back to, I don't know, if you go back to this, uh, like, yeah, maybe you have some cool stuff here. Stefan got upset early. Okay, uh, made it back. You had the 3 and 4 seeds playing and losers to make it out. Okay, that's fine. But people like they're deciding to stream all the 2s and 3s after doing a lot of these round ones, and I understand that it's a cool experience for someone that is not a high seed to be on stream. That's part of the allure of a open bracket with a lot of people there. However, I think it should be merit based. I think that how the Riptide and Tipped Off way of doing it is they do the Wave A pools usually on stream. They might have done some other stuff with doubles. No, I don't think. I think they did doubles afterwards. I don't know entirely. I don't know if the stream was working super well for Wave A. But like, hey, they have to get up the earliest. That's fine. But they streamed so many. I think all of these sets. I'm not entirely sure about that, but they streamed a ton of them, and that was a lot of cool things. I mean, you had Rix versus Wally. That's a unique upset there. I guess Rix is just a Peach Slayer. Um, you know, J2 over Sunsei, Panda over Jmook. Like these sets that would not always be streamed. Probably this one would have been, but maybe not this one. I don't know. Like there's a lot of sets that have the opportunity. You have these top 128 level, most of them seated in that range, and a lot of people say that like pools are usually not that exciting, low skill level, not that crazy. Top 8, sometimes you don't see the most exciting play styles. You might see some lane play, whatever. But like top 128 and like top 32, there's some banger sets. Like don't ignore that just because you don't know everyone's name. Like there are some really, really, really cool sets. I just it's just so cool going between all these things, and like yeah, Gommel had some of that, but it could have been so much more. Like imagine having like 8 hours of high level matches instead of just 3 crammed in, and instead you have 8 hours of like mediocre play with maybe you have a 2 and a 3 playing each other in pools. Maybe you have 3 versus 5 in the loser side, something like that. But like it's just not that. It's not that exciting. Like I'm a pretty avid watcher, and I just kind of zoned out for Wave D, and I'm like, okay, I'll be busy and do some stuff because I know that top 128 is coming up soon, and I don't want to miss that. And it's like, okay, yeah, maybe you get a lot of viewership, but there was so many cool things that weren't streamed. Like one of the biggest upsets that people did not really realize happened was Rap Monster over Crudo. They streamed this one. I remember watching it, but they didn't stream this one. And I understand you make a decision, and a lot of times they do closer in seeds. Uh, Although H Rock Cliche was game 5, so that would have been cool to see. But they make decisions based on what is more likely to be upsets. And so you're for like a round one pool, you're usually going to be the 2 and 3 seed rather than the 1 and 4 seed. If you have 8 or 16 of them, and you don't want to have to do all of them, but like you can still stream a few of them if you get far ahead in the Wave 2 pool, because how it works is Wave 1 plays round 1, and then when Wave 2 starts, or excuse me, I'll do A, B, C, D. A pool, they do round 1, then when B starts, they do round 2. And then when C starts, B does round 2. When D starts, C does round 2, and then D does round two. So that's like five layers, which is the same amount as you would have, but instead of doing the four lower level pools and then them all at the same time, like Gommel did, you have the layered version where you have, okay, you don't have to watch the round one pools because you have a round two pool. Now, some people got confused. It's like, wait, they're playing so early in the bracket. And it's like, well, it's not. It's early because of the schedule, not early because they're bad or were poorly seated. Um, you have people that like, okay, they play for 4 hours and then they're good for the day. I think that's a more sustainable schedule. I understand some super majors that's really difficult to do. Um, it's a little bit harder to follow, but I think that like you cannot always depend on like I mean some people's like they always ask for the bracket link and I'm just like dude just like pay attention or like go on Start GG and look it up. Like some people are just lazy and they don't want to learn. You can't always fix that. But when you have like I mean this was one of the hypest upsets and no one knew it happened until someone put it in a bracket. Like and I mean this set was cool, but like what about this one? And like I mean what about this one before it too? Like there's a lot of sets that would be interesting to see and maybe you don't have as much interest in every single individual set. But at least you have the opportunity. It's better to have a boring stream, like a boring set on stream, than have a hype set off stream. Having too many is better than having too few. And I think that having it scheduled at the very end of the day and have all these crazy sets that you could not possibly pay attention to. Like, I mean, I was going through all four of these, all four for Ultimate, checking Rival, which the Rivals 2 situation was also not great. Um, but like, Kevbot over Nikki, it was like, wait, was that a mistake? I didn't see, like, it was later uploaded to YouTube, but I was looking at Morse Code Nikki. I was like trying to pay attention to some other ones, and it was just like, okay, like, I think Chicken Man BZ was on. I don't know, but like, and like, yeah, they had three streams going, but I mean, you have this was this like 16, 17? Yeah, 16 versus 17. So you're having players that are like, you know, in that top 32 echelon in this winner's side. Um, I guess this is top 32 now. But you have these players that like it's hard to keep track of all of it, and it's overwhelming. I would rather have it more gradual and have it be kind of like okay, here's some hype sets. It's like if you don't like them, stay back for like for another 2 hours. Like people don't like round one pools that much. It used to be fun to watch the Leffen 3 minute four stocks or whatever, or see what Mewtwo King can do this time. But like, it's just not that big of a deal. Like, I think people don't necessarily care about that. Like, maybe Zane goes Roy, I don't know, but probably not. He's probably just gonna go Marth anyway, and it's not impressive because he can just do that on ranked on a stream. Like, it's not much different. It's just in person this time. Having that top level offline best of five set is what is so special about these offline events. And I mean, top 32, uh, that was also tough. I understand that was a different day, and that was like, I wish they had spread it out a little bit more. But when you have three stream setups, I mean, this is the same amount. You have 36 sets. That's a lot. Even if some of them, I imagine this set was probably kind of fast. Um, some of them will be fast 3-0s, but not all of them. And I mean, another set, Crudo just didn't get to play on stream very much. Soon-Say Crudo, I think it was the 5 versus the 9? Yeah, because Morse Code made an upset against Nikki. Yeah, the 5 versus the 9 played off stream, and that was it. You didn't even get to see it. Amsa versus Ginger, also not on stream. The former second best player in the world versus one of the best Falcos of all time that hasn't entered in a while, and no one saw it. Maybe a few people that were at the venue. But it's like, that could, I mean, Ginger, somewhat of a, I wouldn't say controversial, but, divisive player, but he brought a lot of unique insight to Falco, and I think that helped kind of with some matchup play in the modern age. And I think that seeing Falco versus Amsa would be really cool, but it was not on stream. And a lot of these, I mean, Rap Monster versus Matt Monet, I don't think was on stream. I remember a few of them were, but like when people are following along with Rap Monster, which was NBVA player, I'm a little biased there, but super super like exciting. Inky versus Spark. Inky people thought was underseeded, benefited from a DQ, and then got some upsets. But you didn't get to see this, and oh, Sheik did it, whatever. But it's like, look, just because a matchup is not as exciting doesn't mean it should, like, you should, okay, too bad. Like, because there's other ones that, like, Ossify Wally, that was probably cool. Peach versus Marth is a classic melee matchup. Kevin Maples Ginger. Kevin Maples up and coming. Well, he's kind of been up already, but like really good MDVA Fox. I would love to see how he did against Ginger. And like all these things, I don't even know if Slug Inky was on stream. Game 5, despite the tough character matchup of Icy's Sheik. Some of these were, but some of them weren't. Like it was unfortunate, and I remember one of these kind of got held up. I think this took a while to start, but the lack of stream sets was unfortunate, and I think that like expecting 5 or even 9 stream setups with like quads and whatnot is not realistic. A lot of tournaments are just not capable of doing that, either if they're too small or too big. Kind of like the like small super major or large normal major, like kind of in that range, is where the sweet spot is for that. But it's just like as someone who really really enjoys spectating Smash, it was disappointing with how many I just couldn't see. I would love to have the opportunity. I'm not gonna, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed a top 100 level Fox Ditto. That's just not kind of my thing. But it would have nice. I'm never gonna say no. I don't even want it streamed at all. It's like, hey, someone else might enjoy it. That's fine. My money, I believe, is in Tri-State. Kevbot is, I think, NorCal. I forget exactly. But like, also for Ultimate, Light lost early to Wilds, and a bunch of his sets weren't streamed. First of all, Fox is a fast-paced character. Even you win fast or lose fast. I don't think Light Hypercurry was on stream. The person that beat Spargo and one of the best North American players of all time was not streamed. What are we doing? Like, I understand that you're trying to get things through quickly, and it's difficult to balance all this stuff. But like, come on. Like streams a few more sets. Like give yourself another hour. That's fine. Like it ended up going late anyway. But it was just strange. Like I mean, Big D back in action. I don't think this was streamed. I don't remember entirely, but a lot of these weren't. And it was just like I'm less invested in this. Really, like top 32 gets some great sets a lot of the time. Like you have a few low tier heroes, a few aggressive players that inevitably don't make it. You have some people that made some miracle runs and all that, and it's cool to see. But sometimes you just don't get to see it. I don't know if this set was on stream, which is like Beastmode Paul has been probably top 10 North America, or at least top 10 in USA. And then you have someone who got a bunch of upsets back to back. Even a Tata I would consider an upset. That's good. And it's just like, okay, you're going to have to wait to see which one shows up. And I think that, like, it's way better than a lot of other games. I remember some of my local scene, they were also table tennis players. They were at a ping pong tournament. And I was like, oh, is there any way to watch? They're like, oh, no. Like, yeah, a bunch of Virginia collegiate athletes, and there's no way to watch it. Meanwhile, you could have a Smash tournament anywhere in the world with one viewer, and you can still watch it and watch the bracket update live. Like, Smash has it good. And even with like FGC, sometimes you have their sets are a lot faster, and yet they still don't stream that much. And they just like, okay, just get through the bracket, get through the bracket. And there's a lot less like viewership in terms of like, okay, if you're a niche like enjoyment on certain matchups, it's just like, okay, get them through a few classic players, like old school names, but generally, okay, get through it. And I think there is so much opportunity to, like, I mean, like Tweak said he's retiring. Some of these players, like MKLeo, are not always the most consistent. You have these new guard of players that you're not allowing to show off. Like Cola became so popular, like he was good like online, but offline he was infectious. Not only with his playstyle, but with his like personality. Zamba created kind of a villain art for himself. And I think that when you just limit the opportunity for screen time, you're just you're messing up the potential of of this game to grow, of this genre of platform fighters to grow. And I think it's like you not only with the top 128 structuring and the layered way of having more top level sets, but when you have like these people that are so close, like Monty is having a great year so far, had a bunch of good wins, but I don't know if this was streamed. Like there's no guarantee it was. And again, huge props to Tipped Off. I think they committed to streaming every single top 128 set. They definitely streamed all top 32 sets, which had some insane matches all over the place. Like I mean, you had an Icy Ditto, you had two of the top seeds here, you had Lucky J Chu, like Kadoran over Junebug. I mean, that's Marth doesn't beat DK that often, and all that kind of stuff. And like I think it's cool to have these more opportunities to where people are able to play on stream. It's not only good for the players in terms of like uh, getting themselves out there more, but usually it's just better. Uh, Sometimes they have to wait a lot, but I think generally trying to structure it out can help them. Like they can prepare more, they can be more, less rushed and more of a manageable schedule as long as it's not too delayed. Sometimes there is a risk of a really long set. You get your SDJH box and whatnot back at Gommel. But in general, I think it's super important to make sure that things are scheduled better. I think that stream is like having a either free with ads or paid with no ads structure on Twitch is so accessible for the viewer. I think that esports are becoming way more popular with and maybe less esports and more so like casual competitive where someone's trying to win a Fortnite game or something like that where someone's trying to win but they're not like the best in the world. Like stakes help like are interesting, but if you don't know how to watch something besides going on Stream East or whatever, uh, you know, uh, bootleg site to watch a professional sport, like it's not accessible. And so having the ability to to watch something and pull it up, maybe watch a few ads or pay a quick $5 for a month, and then you get to just watch boom, 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 and see all these crazy matchups. And I think it is such a cool opportunity that again I really don't want to hate on Gommel. They did a great thing. It was an awesome event, but these sets being off stream is really bothering me. And I think that there's things that can be done better to where you can have more people on stream and without making it take 3 hours longer. And so I think I really want them to do the Riptide method of layering it out and having, like for the round two pools, you have waves one each, where you do like 2 hour, 2 hour, 2 hour, 2 hour. You give more weight to each individual match, and like as someone that appreciates round two a lot more than round one, and more than the average spectator, I imagine. Like it is better to have more interesting and high level sets, and so I think that And Ultimate does it too. I know I'm just showing Melee here as the good, but Riptide got more popular with Ultimate later on, and I believe there's other tournaments that do this too. I don't know exactly, but I'm a huge fan of this structure with the layered round two pools, and committing to streaming a lot of sets. And I really want that to be a big deal. I want that to be uh, more set streams, whether side streams are popping up more. That's good. I know it's really expensive to have a lot of internet setup at a larger like convention center or hotel or whatever is the venue. I guess a zoo in this case. Um, I know it's difficult, but if you have it already set up, I just think you're missing a great opportunity to structure things a little bit differently to give yourself a little more wiggle room, more opportunity to put more stuff on stream because you also get more viewership. If you upload them, you probably get more views on YouTube. And like it can be beneficial to have more things on stream. So I really, really think that structuring an event better to have more matches on stream is a huge, huge thing. And also with the round one to round two, having them play back to back and layer it out is better for the player as well. So that's something I want to see, both Melee and Ultimate, and also for those players that are in multiple games, I think it's helpful to where they don't have to go. I think Spargo had to go Ultimate Rivals 2, Ultimate Rivals 2, and you can just, okay, I'm done with Ultimate for the day. Now I do my Rivals 2 stuff. And I think that I understand that sometimes it's difficult. I think sometimes you can maybe even like if you want top 32 to be shorter, like do like a top 24 instead. Have these and these, or I guess this first row for both winners and losers already played, and then you just move on to top 24. I think that'd be better. I understand that conflicts, either with other games or with Double Jeopardy and stuff. I'm not the best at understanding all the progressions for larger brackets. I'm used to having smaller brackets, but I think that there's things that can be done a little bit better in terms of making sure that there are more matches on stream and it is has a better schedule for both player and spectator. So yeah, that's just my opinion on that. Again, huge props to major TOs. They do a great job. I just want to encourage them to understand that their work is not unnoticed, but I think that they could be recognized even more if they decided to just tweak a couple things. So yeah, I plan on doing a few more things involved with like tournaments because being a smaller TO, I have a little bit of experience on the logistics, not nearly the quite this level in terms of managing so many people, but some of the inner workings I think can be tweaked. And I love to talk about it. And hey, if any of you disagree, that's totally fine. And not just for engagement and whatnot. Like I'm totally down to talk to people about opinions, and I think that Smash is in a great spot because I get to be this picky. Like it's not like oh please can you stream more than 5 sets in top 32 and like we're a bit spoiled, but I think it's okay. I think we can strive to be better and not just be like deal with it. How dare you? Like I remember at Supernova, some people were annoyed that things weren't streamed, and I'm like, bro, they're trying out here. And then it's like, well, they could do more. And just because other tournaments do it better, and some tournaments do it better, others don't always have the same thing, doesn't mean you have to keep it that way. We can try and make it a better experience for everyone. We can strive to outdo each other to benefit the community. So yeah, I got repeating myself a little bit there, but yeah, it's really cool to see. This weekend, I think it's the European tournament, the drink the pool, let's drink the pool, something like that. Has a few people traveling over and some of Europe's top talent, so that'd be cool. Ultimate has a bunch of stuff. I haven't really checked up on Japan recently. I think after Kagaribi, it's been a little bit more mellow, but a couple of them traveled to Gommel. But I'm very curious to see what's going on over there. And Rivals 2 got some good stuff there. Yeah, Platform Fighters is in a good spot. I want that the majors to keep having that spark, that special sauce, you know. But yeah, all right. Leave a comment and any ideas for videos upcoming. Let me know, and have a great day.